Greetings everyone, my name is Zetterville, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Make a Good Mega Man Level Contest 2, or Magmal 2 for short. During the last part, I entered Tier 10 and completed the first two levels, those being Boil Man as well as Komusa Temple. Now, off screen, I completed the balloon popping challenge in the hub world, which allowed me to unlock the Carrot Man costume from the costume shop, which I purchased it for 350 bolts. This, I believe, is Karakato, one of the artists for Magmal 2's OC, or Roadmaster. So let's delve deeper into Tier 10. Over here is a warp point to the top of Tier 10 that was added with the version 1.4 update to make traversal of this area a lot easier. After all, this is one of the more vertical tiers. Before I continue on, let me show the differences for Carrot Man. He fires carrots, of course. His charge shot is a fully charged carrot. His half charge shot fires a barrage of 3 carrots at once. Super arrow works the same way. Wire adapter also works the same way. Rush Jet instead is a giant carrot jet, makes sense. And the Rush Coil is just a bunny we bounce off of. Sadly, the Sakugarne isn't a bouncing carrot. It seems like a hugely missed opportunity to add that. Oh well. Also, the sliding animation is quite funny. Yeah, he's quite happy to slide around. Also of note, I really like the aesthetics and graphics of Tier 10. In terms of those alone, this is my favorite tier. It's just so pretty seeing all of these various flashing things, and all the statues and head figurines of Mega Man, Bass, Proto Man, Wily, and probably Dr. Light later on. Alright, in 8th place is Launch Man and Shuttle Man by Strife with a score of 42.0. In fact, this is Ace Spark's favorite entry stage. So, you know we're in for something good. I expect a pretty good boss fight at the end, knowing Ace Spark. And unlike Magmal 1, when one of the entry stages is one of the judges' favorites, it's quite well established here with that very in-your-face banner. 1 energy element and 5 noble nickels. Let's do it. Also, you may recognize the name Strife before. They are the creator of the game Freedom Planet, a 2D action platformer. A really good one. I recommend you play it if you have the time. Also in the background we see this Wily airship. Oh, by the way, I watched some footage of the stage, about 20%, so it's going to be 20% known and 80% blind. So we start out in this forest. I guess we're near a spaceport. Well, I see a ladder down there, so I'm going to take a look at it. I'm only going to take a look at the map if I get lost or something. After all, there are 5 noble nickels to look out for. Unfortunately, seeing the map is tied to the same key or same button combination for resetting my weapons. Still, this is some clever usage of the Plant Man tile set, recolored a little bit, and with a unique custom background. I knew there was going to be a noble nickel here. Okay, I was wondering why I was being blown around. I want to backtrack a little bit to see what I missed. Oh, and there was a noble nickel here. So we already have 2 out of 5 noble nickels. The second one was more of a challenge to get, and oh, I see what I missed. If I took that ladder up there when I was down below, I would have gotten this bolt. But of course I have my bees with me, or rather hornets, so it was easy. Oh, and the ladder was right over here. Really liking the musical track, although you probably can't hear it. I can definitely see why this stage is one of Ace's favorites, especially in terms of aesthetics alone, and music. I mean, it's reusing the Plant Man tile set, but it's recolored it and combined it with a unique background. Oh, and apparently Wily's airship is following us in the background. Also nice usage of the jet photons as airship fleets. And now we have those parachuting enemies from Toadman's stage. And here's a unique gimmick, we have all these rockets being fired upwards. I guess jumping into them is instant death. Never mind, do they act like solid objects though? No they don't, thank goodness. But running into them deals 5 points of damage, so we gotta be a bit careful. And we can't destroy it. Wait a minute, can we destroy them? I wanna take a look. Nope, they're completely indestructible. Oh neat, we're actually in a vertical auto-scrolling segment where we need to climb up this rocket, or a space shuttle. Well, this is called Man Shuttle Man after all. This is a launch base. And now we jump onto this. Clever. I better be on the lookout for some noble nickels though. Thank you for the warning there. Darn, I was hoping the grab buster would be fast enough, but it wasn't. At least the checkpoint is right before the space shuttle. Like I just said, this is called Man Shuttle Man. We are launching a shuttle into space, Wily's shuttle. I guess we're gonna be utilizing this shuttle in order to access that Wily battleship in the distance. Also, I really like we have that advanced warning that there's a noble nickel here. And now you have a cutscene. Well, that was a little bit janky there, but I don't mind it. Now we're in the sky and we have this flying rooster as a boss. Mini-boss, I mean. Yep, I can definitely see that this animation is done by Strife. Very fluid, one of the more fluid ones. Okay, it seems that this boss does not have any invulnerability frames. Still, that was a really fun mini-boss encounter, one of the more fluid ones of the competition we've seen so far. I mean, most of the mini-bosses and bosses we've seen so far don't really have this much fluid animation. Well, it seems that we're gonna need a key in order to access that noble nickel. Oh, what's this? We actually have multiple Mets. Okay then, I didn't expect that. I expected just a simple Metar, but we effectively had many Metars in one. Oh, Dennis, the very powerful Metool. I was expecting a Notice Me Senpai literally in the text, but okay then. Shame it was easily destroyed though because it only had 1 point of health per form. I would like to see a full boss battle against Dennis with invulnerability frames. Also, I didn't mention this, I'm really liking the unique tile set and background here, especially with the clouds and the parallax scrolling. That should be Noble Nickel number 4, one more left. Oh, those fans are being put to good effect, especially because they're pushing me around everywhere. As well as those big tellies. This is one of the best usages of those big tellies in this competition so far. Oh, I saw someone flying in the background there. Nice bit of foreshadowing. And I really like the usage of those rockets. Those are cleverly introduced, and they're introduced in safe environments, and the challenges are gradually being incremented. 4-step design, after all. I wonder where I could get a key. Okay, we actually have a boss fight. Oh no, a devil encounter. The air devil, I think. Well, I didn't expect to find a devil encounter here. I would love to see a metal devil in the future, or perhaps an elect beam devil. And it opens its eyes long enough for me to do multiple strikes, at least 2 of them fully charged shots. And it deals 4 points of damage per hit too, so it's super powerful. Okay then. Well, the energy element flew away, so I guess we're gonna be fighting someone else. And of course, he stole it. After all, the stage is called Man Shuttle Man. I wonder what would have happened if I actually used a super arrow to skip over that. Well, I guess I collected all of the noble nickels. I don't see any more. And the music is gone too. Oh, Mega Man 8 boss intro. Are we fighting 2 bosses at once? Oh, that's unique. I didn't expect to fight 2 bosses at once. We have 2 different health bars. Well, this is a little bit chaotic, but it is pattern-based. It seems that the Launch Man actually regenerates some health when he grabs onto Shuttle Man. I know, I will take a death over here, I don't mind it. I can definitely see why A-Spark ranked the stage highly and really liked this boss fight. Of course, there's an invisible wall there. I should have expected much. And this time the music didn't fade out. Strange. Still, it's quite unique we're fighting 2 bosses at once, each with their own separate health bars. I expected it to be a multi-phase boss fight where we first fought either Launch Man or Shuttle Man, and then the one after the other, not both. I'm gonna try killing off Shuttle Man first, so that Launch Man doesn't regenerate some health. There we go. Okay then, apparently if we kill off Shuttle Man, Launch Man just retreats. So I'm gonna take a death over here, because I really want to see what happens if we kill off Shuttle Man first. I realize that I may be mixing up the Roadmaster names. So this time, I'm gonna try taking out the little guy first. Really, I have nothing more to say about this boss fight other than it's super fun and super unique. Okay then, apparently if we kill off Shuttle Man, we just need to fight Launch Man instead. But if we kill off Launch Man, Shuttle Man just retreats in fear. That's neat. Unfortunately, it seems that Launch Man doesn't have any other unique attacks if the other dies. There's no angry mode. Oh well, that's just a minor quibble. This was a super fun level overall. So let's see what the judges have to say about this level. Yeah, this stage can be quite chaotic, especially in the launching of the shuttle segment, the segment in the middle with all those rockets, and then the boss fight. It is quite a crowded stage or chaotic, but I like it. And to be fair, especially with charge shots, many of them just die pretty easily. And I really like how this stage actually has an enormous number of mini-bosses, relatively speaking. Not enormous, but more than usual. It has 3. First, we had that Turbo Rooster, I think it's Turbo Rooster. Then we had Dennis, and then we had the Air Devil. And then we had the 2 boss fights in one. To be fair, at least that Air Devil encounter allowed you to use 2 full charge shots, so that's 6 points of damage per once. Yeah, I think the bigger Roadmaster name is Shuttle Man because it varies the launch astronaut or something. And I also like the progression of the stage, first taking place in the forest, then on the shuttle, where we then board onto Wily's airship. It could feel a bit crowded, but I really enjoyed it. Especially of how dynamic the bosses were, especially in terms of the Turbo Rooster fight and launch and shuttle duo. And this stage follows 4-step design of introducing and incrementing challenges and recombining them near the end. The only thing that wasn't properly introduced probably would be the spinning tops that took you to the last part of the stage, but that was relatively minor. Yes, the screens could get a bit overcrowded in the last segment before the Air Devil, but it was minor. The former could be an issue, especially if you don't use special weapons. You saw that with the big telly rooms where I had to utilize the dual satellite a bit. Yes, the boss battles are really what make this stage shine over its competition. And just like I mentioned, that boss fight is perfectly learnable. I don't see any RNG there. In fact, I agree with you, Ace. This stage beats most Capcom stages in Mega Man. As for what I'd rate it, based on my first impressions, at least a 45 or 46. Why, hello there, Starman. I guess his dialogue is a reference to some song lyrics. The comment section can probably fill me into what song in particular. Alright, next up, in 7th place, is Cyberman by RedBlupi with a score of 42.8. If you may recall, RedBlupi was the winner of the Magma 1 competition with their stage Glassman. So let's see how this stage fares. Now, I was warned in advance of 2 things, and I watched some footage of this stage, but it's gonna be mostly blind. First off, most of the Noble Nickels, or rather all of them, are placed in rather obscure locations. And I was warned in advance of the location of one of the 4 Noble Nickels. And there is the first Noble Nickel. Sadly, the super arrow is disabled. The reason being is that if you position the super arrow just right, you can just slide right through the one gap over there. But you need to be really precise. This Meteor is a little bit different. These are the Meteors from Mega Man Battle Network, where they use their pickaxes to send out a shockwave. So instead they have a longer windup before attacking, and they have 2 HP. Alright, the first main gimmick of the stage are these cyber blocks. Jumping into them will teleport you back to an earlier segment of the stage. They usually don't send you too far back, but it's best to avoid them. However, they kind of act like spike blocks in the way that, if you use the Sakugane, you can bounce off of them harmlessly. So take that into consideration when traveling through the stage. Oh yeah, by the way, here's the level map. You may notice that some of the noble nickels are placed a little bit off they're disconnected from the main pathway. I believe we need to get hit by one of these blocks, or particular warp blocks, and be able to transition that way. Oh darn, I missed it. At the very least, it seems that the warp points do update forwards a bit. We needed to jump into that warp point if we wanted to progress onwards Buster only, or Carrot only in this case. Okay, 4-shooter hoverer. That's neat. Directly to the right of me, those things that are shimmering, those are spikes. And here's the first mini-boss battle against this thing. All these orbs will send you back if you aren't careful. Whoops, I didn't mean to jump over there. Well, you can go to the right to reset, but I'm curious. I wonder if there's something to the left here. Yeah, there is something to the left here. I do like the glitched aesthetic there with all of the numbers and letters and garbage. And we have all these gremlins. I see what they meant by obscure noble nickels, because most players wouldn't think of going left. But thanks to my experience in Mega Man Maker of going left all the time, I was able to find it at the very least. And we get a Yoshiki there, and that's the first of 4 noble nickels. Let's keep going to the left here and see what secrets belie. Guess we can't go to the left anymore, so let's go to the right. Well, okay then, apparently that acted like a shortcut to the boss fight against Cyberman. Apparently when he reaches his pinch mode, he starts moving this conveyor belt at the bottom. Well, that wasn't that challenging actually. But to be fair, I was using full charge shots, and I believe that boss fight is learnable. But of course, I accidentally took a shortcut directly to the boss, so time to go through the stage again. Not to mention I need to collect 3 noble nickels. Like this one, for example. Still, that's a creative way of introducing how those blocks work by warping you back, to warn you in advance. Because you're forced to go down into that pit, filled with all those warp blocks if you do it Buster only. Now, let's try legitimately fighting against this mini-boss, or rather surviving against it. Sadly, I get teleported back. Instead of going to the left, let's go to the right and... Okay, so apparently there is some off-screen teleportation as well. Because the level architecture doesn't lead to there directly, I mean we're on the top terrain now. But as we go into this door, we may get warped to over here. Still, this is a neat mini-boss encounter. Kinda reminds me of the attack patterns or some of the attack patterns from Cyberman. We only need to survive 2 series of attacks. Really liking the background aesthetics here as well as music. Gosh, those spikes kinda blend in with the background. The purple spikes, they kinda blend in with the bluish background there with the dithering. Once again, oh poor Dachones, they really need an HP buff. Well, I see something up there, I better take a look at it. Just make sure not to get hit by any of these spikes. and slide on through. Apparently the level wraps in on itself. Will the level wrap in on itself vertically as well? That'll be neat. Sadly, we need to repeat this part of the stage then. Isn't too far back though. Do we need to repeat that boss battle against that cyber noise generator? Hopefully not. Oh, we do need to repeat it. I do like the animations when they explode when they hit the terrain. Apparently the Dechone there didn't respawn for whatever reason. Oh, and here we're introduced to the moving platforms gimmick, or conveyor belts. Of course, unlike the conveyor belts from Metal Man stage, these are a lot more obvious of where they're going. That's an odd glitch over there. I'm curious, where does this take me? I just want to make sure I'm not missing any noble nickels. Right over here. Okay, the ring-rings animation there is a bit glitched. It's supposed to be orbiting around, apparently teleporting here kind of glitched them out. At least they're a bit different colored, I think. I'm not sure how you can make this jump without sliding, I guess. I spy a secret there. I'm gonna need to do a quick jump. Okay, it warped us over here. We're not just screen wrapping, we're just warping throughout the stage a bit. It's not like a direct transition from vertical to vertical. We're transporting between stage to stage, even outside the warp blocks. Still, I like the introduction of those conveyor belts. And we have crushers too. I see the warp blocks down over there. I'm not sure if I agree with the combination usage of the warp blocks as well as spikes. And now we have a giant ring, or whatever these enemies are called, which then split into smaller portions upon being killed. There are a lot of gimmicks in this stage. Not only do we have the warp blocks, we have the unique conveyor belts, we have the elect beams, we have those crushers. I wonder what else will be added to the stage. And now we have another unique gimmick. Apparently these fire CDs at us. Okay, I was warned over here that there's a noble nickel down over here if we jump down. How do I get it? Okay, I need to slide in from the right side. I thought you need to jump in from here. Still, it's not obvious that you can jump down from that point of the stage. It's just black over there. Usually that indicates there's a bottomless pit. But here is the screen wrapping. Could have been a bit more obvious. After all, screen wrapping does not apply everywhere in this stage. But I gotta find a sliding point. Knowing my luck, it's gonna be a warp point from another part of the stage. After all, screen wrapping in the stage is combined with stage warping itself. We saw that with the shortcut, and we saw that in the earlier segment when we jumped down that pit following that flash stopper blocks. It's probably this area. And I was right. Thank goodness I was able to hit it upwards. There's only one more noble nickel left. Still, this stage definitely fits the cyber aesthetic, what with the computerized motherboard backgrounds, mainframes, the disks, the electricity, as well as the warp blocks, and the glitchy background when you go through a teleporter or warp block. Okay, destroying the big one spawns in 3 smaller ones. Darn, I missed it. Well, I see a ladder over there. And it takes us right over here. Fair enough. And apparently hitting the warp blocks ignores invulnerability frames. So this stage would be a lot more annoying if we didn't have the knockback upgrade. This isn't that bad as long as you do a small hop. I do like the 4-shooter enemies. They're simple, but they're effective. And they give plenty of time for you to react to them. Sadly, the Chones really need buffs. Knowing screen warping, let me take the bottom ladder first. And let's go back up it. And a lot of triple blade blocks as well as Sakugane blocks. And a lot of chickens as well. There's the 4th and final Noble Nickel. At the very least, it isn't as obscure as the first one was. As long as you pay attention to ladders, it was fine. I wonder what happens if you go down this ladder again. It seems to constantly loop and no difference in the rooms. Well, okay then. I got everything, so let's complete the level. Oh, I remember this room. This is just before the boss fight, where I got to accidentally by using a warp point. This time, let me figure out what Cyberman's weakness is. Okay, it's the Hornet Chaser. This was a neat level, but I had some issues with it. Still, I think it deserves to be in at least lower tier 10 or upper tier 9. There were some issues with the background and foreground, and there may have been a little bit too many gimmicks introduced. At least everything relatively fits in with the aesthetics, though I feel like the crushers were a little bit out of place and could have been recolored. So let's see what the judges have to say. Still, I wouldn't rate this higher than the previous stage. Launch and Shuttle Man is a better stage than this one, personally speaking. The other problem with this stage is, of course, the obscure placement of the Noble Nickels, especially 2 of them. This stage definitely had a lot of effort put into it, especially in terms of the graphics front and unique gimmicks. Though it probably needs some more playtesting and more distinction between the foreground and background, and maybe a reduction of 1 or 2 gimmicks. And made it a bit more obvious where the Noble Nickels were, maybe with one hint. Like for example, players were introduced to the warp blocks gimmick if you went buster only in that one sliding segment in the pit in the first opening segment of the stage. Probably put a Noble Nickel as a hint there. That'd be neat. And the introduction of gimmicks could have been slowed down a bit, they're a bit too rapid fire. The wraparound is super cool, and it does allow for some mind-bending scenarios, but Yeah, that's right, it's introduced properly after it's been used. And the screen warping causes some issues when confusion of where things link up with each other. And yes, it was super obscure. You need to lose to the mini-boss battle and then walk to the left. Basically, the ideas are super neat, but the execution could use some work. Oh sure, the execution I'd say is almost good to good, but I feel like this would get a 40 in my part. I just feel like the judges were a bit too generous with their scoring here. And Cyberman did feel a bit easy, especially in comparison with the previous boss battle. Maybe more damage? He didn't really deal that much damage with his shots. Or maybe one other attack, or him going faster. Oops. I suppose that was fixed post-judging. So if I were to score this would probably get a 39 or 40. This belongs either in upper tier 9 or lower tier 10. It just feels kind of disappointing in terms of execution. All the ideas are very creative and I like them, the aesthetics, the warping of how everything connects with each other. But it just feels like execution and introduction gimmicks could use some work. And it feels like the stage was a bit over ambitious and could have used some trimming and extra playtesting. At least that's what I think. So in the next part, I'll delve even deeper into tier 10. Well then, thanks for watching and have a nice day. Toodles!